Hello.
There we go. All right. Hopefully you can hear me, guys. We don't want the same problem as last time. How are we doing? Sorry, I wasn't as prepared with getting the things out of my background today as I could have been. That's 1 second. If anyone's wondering, it's a Hoover. How are we doing? How are we doing? So it's really strange to be here at this time today. But lots of messages already. Hello, Jacquez. Please, as I say every time, I am pretty sure that I butcher everyone's names when I say them. But please don't be offended. I'm trying very hard to say all of your names. But if it's not an English name, sometimes I will pronounce them wrong. So sorry about that, but I will try my best. Hello, Letitia, I'm guessing. Hello, Burton. Hello, Rosa. Hello, other people. Giselle, Natalie, Daniel, Colette. Oh, we got some amazing people in today. Some people that I've seen before and some newer people. We have a good amount of people. So, can you not hear me, guys? Please put in the comments if you can hear me, because I'm getting a comment saying that they can't hear me. Please let me know when you can. Hello, guys. Hello. Lovely to see all of your messages coming in. We've got an amazing number of people today, which is great because we have plenty of people to join in the class. It's great to see. Please let me know if you can hear me, as I will start once we know. 1 second. Oh, good. That's perfect. So, before we begin, we'll do what we usually do on our classes here. Let me know how your week has been, and also let me know what the weather is like in your country, because I always like to know what the weather is like in your different countries. In England right now, it started off today a bit breezy, a bit cold, but it got nice and warm. Like it's to that point where it's not boiling hot, but it's really nice weather. Like it's fun weather to kind of go out, and you don't have to wear long sleeve shirts, and yeah, it's just nice. So yeah, let me know what the weather is like in the countries that you guys are in. Oh, the weather's not very good. How comes? Is it raining? Snowing? Hopefully not at this time of year. Oh no, it's raining. Jeez, yeah, it's to be honest with you, if it rains in this time of year, even though I know that we need rain, I kind of feel a bit cheated sometimes. Like, is it really so? You know, I'm sure it's very hot in the southeast of France. I believe you there. Hot and sunny in Quebec. Nice. Is it raining? No, it's not raining in England. I think in the last few weeks it's rained a couple of times. But you know what? Like, I mean, even though I say that, if it rains at nighttime, I'm okay with this because, firstly, I can be inside, and also a little bit less. Sorry, it can make the weather a little bit less unbearable. Like sometimes it gets to that point where the heat is constantly going, and you want a little bit of rain just to cool the air down. And like that can really help. So yes, sorry for everyone who it is raining in, but there is always a silver lining, you know. Um, okay, in Paris, we keep. Oh no, so is it cold in Paris? I'm guessing you're saying. Geez, yeah, I hope that it gets better for you guys because it's sounding like in some places, especially the south of France here, it's pretty good. But yeah, always cloudy in Seattle. Oh, nice, amazing. Love to visit America. That's one place. I mean, I've traveled around multiple places. I've been to Australia. I've been to many different countries, but America, it's interesting. It's one place that I've never really like thought to go to. Like it's interesting because I mean, you lot who are learning English will understand as well. American is such a popular version of English that if you're watching Netflix and things like this, you are going to be watching a lot of American culture. And it's an interesting thing because watching so much American culture means that I feel like I've been to America many times, you know? So I don't really have that need to go there. Um, okay, so it's sounding kind of half and half, sunny in some places, rainy in others. So hopefully in the next week it swaps around and or we can all have a nice sunny time as well. Um, oh geez, that wasn't fun. So yeah, hopefully it gets better in the next week. But yes, as I said before we start, it's lovely to see you all here. It's amazing. We've got quite a lot of people here today, which is great to see. It's really nice to have plenty of people here to kind of communicate with and also to get involved in the class. So I'm going to tell you a bit about how the classes work and then we'll get straight in. So let me just turn on the, yes, I'm sure. um, Okay, so yeah, today's lesson will be on the passive voice, which is a very interesting topic in the English language and a good one to know because, yes, you might not use it in simple English, you know, like you might not be using it when you are just kind of communicating with friends, but if you want to upgrade your English skills, and even if you're not at a higher level in English, it is also a very, very good thing to watch and get used to certain grammatical terms and ways of kind of expressing certain things because that's how language is. It's like a puzzle, isn't it? Like there are certain things that at the start you can't do and say, and then after a while you unlock those things. So that's the beauty of language. Enough of my love of languages. We'll move on to how the passive voice works. And as we always do here, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments. And as long as I don't miss them in the comments, as we have quite a lot today, which is amazing, I will explain to you whatever your question is and try and answer them to the best of my abilities. And yes, let's look on the second page here. We have our red words. And to explain to you what these red words are, is they are words that are very easily mispronounced in English, and we think that they're a good one for you to practice. So throughout the video, we are going to work on the pronunciation. I will say the words, and then I want you to repeat them back to me, and we will do that. And I mean, the best thing to do is for you guys to repeat them, because in repeating, you are going to get used to the pronunciation. You'll remember the words. So if there's a word that you don't know, you'll remember it. And also, it's just good to like work along, especially when you've got me here, a native English speaker. You can try and copy the way that I say something, and in that way, your pronunciation will get even better. So let's move on. I know we've had a bit of an intro here, but I thought as we've got lots of people, it would be good to introduce you all to the format. Okay, so the passive voice. So, what is the passive voice? And you may have this in your respective languages, and you might recognize what I'm saying. So, the passive voice is how we talk about almost we're using a verb. So you might have a verb. So he was. So the man drunk some water. So imagine the man is drinking water. But what if we want to talk about what is happening to the water? You see, there might be a time when we want to invert the sentence there. So the man drinks the water, but the water is drunk. So there's a bit of a different way that we explain this, and it's really good for you to know. So I'll say that one more time. The man drinks the water. The man is doing the action of drinking the water, which I can't seem to do properly today without pouring the water down myself. But the man drinks the water. But what happened to the water there? The water was drunk. We need a way of using a verb to explain what happened to the water. And this is called the passive voice. So I'll read you exactly what we have here. So the passive voice is a grammatical construction in English where the focus is on the action or the recipient of the action rather than the subject performing the action. So the subject is me drinking the water, but the recipient is the water being drunk. Rather than the subject performing the action, yes, in passive sentences, the object of the action of the active sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence. So we flip the sentence round on its head there. Please let me know in the comments, guys, if I am ever speaking too fast and you're not understanding. I know that I sometimes speed up a little bit when I'm speaking because I get passionate about what I'm talking about. But if it ever gets to a point where you can't understand what I'm saying, please put it in the comments and I will try my best to slow down. So, yeah, let's move on to the second part here. So, how do we form the passive voice? So, yes, we need a specific structure here to be able to use this. It's kind of a grammatical tense in a way. I mean, it's a way of. It's not a tense. It's a construction. Yeah, it's a way of flipping the sentence, as I said before. And how do we do that? There's a very specific way. So this structure involves the use of the appropriate form of the verb to be. Um, Perfect. Yeah, so we're using the verb to be. So I am, it was, things like this. And so knowing, okay, that's great. It's great to see that it's okay for all of you, for most of you guys that are in the comments. But yes, the verb to be is very good to know this. If you don't know the forms of the verb to be, then just kind of go through those, try and learn those because to be is one of the most common verbs in English. So once you know the verb to be, you can say many things. You can say, I am James, I am tall, it was raining. You can say many different things just by knowing the verb to be. Very good, Kareem. Yes. So the verb to be then is followed by the past participle of the main verb. Can anybody tell me which form of the verb the past participle is? Is it the first form? Is it the second form? Or is it the third form? Okay, Colette, I'll try and speak a bit slower. I totally understand. If it gets to the end of the video and you still haven't understood what I'm saying, you can also go back to the video and press slow down as well. So if at any point in this or the other I Speak Spoke Spoken English or any video you want it a bit slower, you can then slow it down a bit. Yes, yeah, good guys. So yeah, I included in the first, second, third form the infinitive form, but yes, you got it perfectly there. So you have the infinitive, the first form, and the second form there. So good one, guys. But yes, anyone who said third form is also right there because it's basically the third in the order. Yep. So pretty much, yeah, we have here the second form of the verb, which in that sense is the one that we use with the past perfect. So the third form is basically the past participle here. So if you were saying, I had drunk this water, or I have drunk this water this week, we're using this in the perfect tenses. And in that same sense, there, we would use it in the passive voice. So the water was drunk. We're not going to say so. The first form that there is to drink, which is our what we call it, our infinitive, to drink water, and then we move on to the first form, which is our for our past simple and things like this, where we will have he drunk the water. He drank the water yesterday. When we're using drank, drink, drank. And then we move on to the third form, which is drink, drank, drunk. I know I'm jumping between second and third form here, but it is the right one here. So the third form is drunk. And we would say, so the water was drunk. You can also look in terms of I speak, spoke, spoken as well. So speak, spoke, spoken is in the same way. We have our third forms here. So we have I speak, which is our first form, our infinitive form here. We have spoke, so he spoke to the person yesterday. our second form. Our third form is spoken. So he has spoken to the person, or the conversation was spoken, I guess, if you wanted to make a passive voice here. I changed the second form. What do you mean by that, Evelyn? If you could let me know, because I can help you. There we go. Okay, let's move on to here. Just a second, guys. There we go. Okay. Yeah, no, so we would call this the, sorry, my mind is going a little bit blank for a second. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Sorry. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. And there we are. So sorry, we'll move on there. Okay. So let's move on to here. So the subject plus the form of the verb to be plus past participle by agent. So we have an example here. So our active one would be the chef cooks the meal. You see? So the chef cooks the meal. Whereas our passive voice is the meal is cooked by the chef. I hope you understand this. So basically, the first one is our active one, where we have our subject who is the chef, and we're seeing what he is doing. He is cooking the meal. He cooks the meal. Whereas we have our passive voice, and we are flipping it round. Who was the meal cooked by? It was cooked by the chef. So cooks, we have the chef cooks. So to cook, and we have our we have our passive voice one, which is the meal is cooked by the chef. There we go. Perfect. So no, sorry, just to look at your comments here, guys. It's the third form. So we're using the third form, which is the participle. Sorry, I know I was confusing you guys a bit by jumping between second and third. But if you're to count the infinitive as the first form, you have the second form, which is almost our past simple form. And then we have our third form, which is our past participle, which would be drink, first form, drank, second form, drunk, third form. And we can only use the third form when we're using the passive voice here. So I hope that clears up any communication there. But yes, I see some people saying the same thing. So thank you. And I apologize for the confusion there. But yes, it is the third form, guys. The third form. All right. Thank you, guys. Okay, and we move on to our tenses in the passive voice. So we can use the passive voice through many different tenses. This is why I changed my idea earlier on when I was saying about it being a tense, because you can actually use this throughout many different tenses. So if we wanted to use it during the present simple tense, let's look at our active. So they clean the office. They clean the office. This is just a general thing that they do, maybe a routine. They clean the office in our present simple. Or if we had a passive voice, we would say the office is cleaned. The office is cleaned. So they clean the office. What happened to the office? The office is cleaned. What happens to the office? You see? Okay. So next up, we have our past simple. And this one is when we're talking about a time in the past and something that happened in that time. So here we have our active one. So they cleaned the office. You see, we're using cleaned instead of just clean. We would say cleaned. We wouldn't say they cleaned the office if we were talking about the past, as you can see. And our third form is exactly the same as our second form here. So we would say for our passive voice, the office was cleaned. You see, we're using was as our past tense form of the verb to be. So this proves that it is now the passive voice because we're using the office was cleaned. We couldn't just say the office cleaned. because actually then we're saying that the office was doing the cleaning, which would be a little bit ridiculous, but funny all the same. But the office was cleaned. You see? Okay, guys. So now that we've finished this page, we can go back through our red words. I know we don't have many of them, but we love our red words here at ISpeakSpokeSpoken. Because, okay, so we are going to go. I will say it. I want you to say it. I will repeat it one more time, and I want you to repeat. If any of them have some interesting pronunciations, I will go through the things that we have here in red. So, number one, we have cooks. Cooks. Great. Office. Office. Okay, let me just look at some of your questions here. So, passive voice is very important in English because on doesn't exist in English. Okay, I'm guessing on is a way of saying this in another language, maybe. I'm not too sure. But yes, it is very important. So the office is clean. We're flipping it around, and I guess many different languages have different ways of doing that. Um, okay, Ron, what do you mean by where is the by? If you could let me know, and I can try and answer that question for you. Okay. All right, guys. So any other questions, just put them down there and I will try and get back to you. Let me know what you mean by those and I can try and help you there. All right. Geez, my hair is covering my eyes today. I'm going to try and get it out of my face. Okay, let's move on. So our present continuous. So our active one would be they are cleaning the office. They are cleaning the office. So this is our present continuous. It's something that is happening right now. And then our passive voice would be the office is being cleaned. So the office is being cleaned. So that is what is happening to the office now. We're taking the object of the sentence and we're making it a kind of subject. You see what I mean? Okay, nice one. All right, so yeah, we're switching that round. So who is cleaning the office? Okay, I can let you know. So this who is cleaning the office in this sentence isn't really important. So you could say the people like the employees are cleaning the office. That could be the sentence, but what is important here is that the office is being cleaned. It's not who is cleaning it. So you can actually switch the subject with any subject. You could say the man is cleaning the office. The employees are cleaning the office. You could switch that with anyone. And then if you wanted to turn it into the passive here, and you wanted to add the person who's doing it, you could say the office is being cleaned by this person. Very important. Like you don't have to say this. It's not something that you would be wrong without saying. But if you wanted to add a bit more information to it and you wanted to say who it was by, yes, you would add by and then you would say who it was. So very good question, guys. And yes, it's not important. It's not important to use every time, depending on what you want to say. So yes, I hope that helps. And yeah, no, good, very good questions, guys. Number four here we have past continuous, so similar to present continuous, but in the past. Why don't we add the object pronoun? So if we were to say they are clean, so the office is being clean. Could you explain to me what you mean by the object pronoun, Idrissa? So they're cleaning the office. The office is being cleaned. But yeah, so if you can let me know what you mean by that, and I can try and answer you a bit better. Maybe give me an example sentence, and I will try and help you there. So past continuous, we have they were cleaning the office. they were cleaning the office. So in the past, they were cleaning the office over a period of time. And then if we wanted to turn that into a passive, we would say the office was being cleaned, as we just said. Oh yeah, so in the past, that is now happening. There we go. And yeah, it's literally like, just think of it in that way if you can. Just think, we have a sentence. Our sentence, and in English, the sentence structure is very important. So usually we have our subject, our verb, and then what they're doing. Like we have the verb and then any other parts of the sentence most of the time, depending on the tense. But in this one here, we then switch it round. We're making the last part of the sentence the first part. So the office was being cleaned. They were cleaning the office. What was happening to the office? The office was being cleaned. I hope that makes sense. Number 5, we have our present perfect. So in our present perfect, we have they have cleaned the office. They have done that. That is something that they have done. And then in our passive, the office has been cleaned. The office has been cleaned. Just notice how we are still using the verb to be. The office has been cleaned. Office has been cleaned. And notice how we're changing the verb to be depending on the sentences as well. So the office was being cleaned. So being, this is in the past continuous, in the continuous tenses. And then we have the office has been in the third form here in the past participle. The office has been cleaned. There we go. The office was cleaned by them, for instance. Yeah, I mean, this sentence makes sense. I mean, you could say the office was cleaned by by this person, by this. It's a little bit vague to say by them, but because when we're saying by, we're kind of talking about specific people. So we want to say, oh, it was by this person, but you could say by them. So, oh, the office was cleaned by them, but it feels a lot better to say who it was cleaned by. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like it's that needed to actually say who it was then. You see? You could say, oh, the office was cleaned by my friends. You see, like it feels a bit better to add that. I hope that helps. Okay. All right. So next up, past perfect. So when something happened before something else. So they had cleaned the office. This is our active, our regular past perfect. But if we want to use our passive voice, we would say the office has been cleaned. The office had been cleaned. The office had been cleaned. Okay, lots of offices being cleaned. There we go. So yeah, so notice that is something that will help. Just notice that our verb to be is changing throughout whichever tense we're using it in. That is a very, very good clue as to how to form it depending on how you're speaking and which tense you're speaking in. Okay, we have one red word here, but we're gonna repeat it even. We're gonna repeat it as if we had 100. So were. So notice here how we have after the backwards 3, which is making the sound here, we have the 2 dots. And when we have those 2 dots, that means that we lengthen the vowel. The vowel will be lengthened. And in doing that, we say they were. It's not they were. It's were. Practice that, guy. Practice that. I mean, something that is very, very helpful. And I try and use this with my students as well. It's I will let you know whoever's just asked when to use the passive voice. We have been talking about that throughout this class, so I will give you a brief, quick explanation. But if you want a proper explanation, I would go back to the start of this video, and you can always go through it again. And in that way, you can see exactly what I said at the start of the lesson, which is about what the passive voice is. But I will give you an explanation in a moment anyway. So we can only the office had been cleaned. So if we were talking in the past perfect, yes. So the office had been cleaned when the people turned up for the meeting. The office had been cleaned. So yes, that is the way that we would say that. But depending on the tenses, you can use it in many different ways. So yeah, back to the pronunciation. Were. So in English, in British English, we use a lot of almost what I would call a lazy R. A lazy R. When it comes to American or some other accents, in some other ways of speaking, they would pronounce the R as almost a curved sound. So were. This is very, very much an American accent. Whereas if you were speaking in a British accent, you would not even move your tongue here. Were. Everything is moving the mouth in America, like in American, if you're saying the R. Whereas in English, in British English, we would not even move the tongue here. So practice that noise. I know you might look a bit silly doing it, but it's okay. This is how we learn. This is how we get our faces and our mouths used to pronouncing something properly and in a British English accent, if that's what you'd like. So try and practice that along with me. Just okay. So they were. Remember that is at the end. Were. Very good. And just keep practicing that because that is a noise that comes up so much in English. Like you wouldn't believe how many times just becoming a bit lazier with the R can make you sound a lot more British. And that's something that if that is what you like, it will help. It'll help a lot. Okay. Next we have our past continuous. Oh no, we don't. We've already gone through that. Next up we have future simple. So our active would be they will clean the office. They will clean the office in the future. But if someone is saying to you like, oh, like we need the office cleaned, and then you might say the office will be cleaned. The office will be cleaned. So we're switching it round, and we're making them sure. We're making them certain, and we're telling them that the office will be cleaned, maybe tomorrow or something like this. Number 8, we have future perfect. Our active one here is they will have cleaned the office. They will have cleaned the office by the time something happens. And our passive voice here would be the office will have been cleaned. The office will have been cleaned. I know it sounds a bit daunting as a sentence structure here, but it's okay. If you remember how the future perfect works, just fit in the future perfect form of no, just fit in our past participle of being to be because of the perfect here, and then add in cleaned. The office will have been cleaned. Okay. So common uses of the passive voice. If you have any questions, do put them in the comments and I will get to those as soon as possible. So please, yeah, if you have any questions, I would love to answer them because I'd rather sit here for 5 minutes telling you the answer to it than you not know. You know, it's always good to ask questions, even if you feel like they're silly questions. I'm sure at least 5 other people here have the same question and they're probably scared to ask it. So do ask it. And there are no silly questions. I promise that. Okay, so common uses of the passive voice. Emphasizing the action or result of something. So emphasizing what is happening or the result of that thing. So sometimes the action or the result of an action is more important than who performed it. Yeah, it's more important sometimes what the outcome of something or what the action is. So yeah, like what the action actually is more important than who did the action. So that is why one of the reasons why we do this. So an example here would be the bridge was completed in 1999. So we don't need to say this John Smith completed the bridge in 1999. Like we wouldn't need to say this, but the important thing is that the bridge was completed in that time. So the bridge was completed in 1999 is the important bit. Okay, our red word here. This is a bit more of a complex one, actually, guys, and a good one to practice. So repeat after me. Completed. Completed. Okay, something to look at here is completed. How many syllables do we have here? If you can count on your hands, we have our syllable drum, and you can bang on your hand like this, and not too hard. You don't want to hurt yourself, but we can see how many syllables are in the word completed. So completed, completed. How many is that? 1, 2, 3. 3 syllables. And which syllable do you think is our stressed syllable? Because whenever we have a word that is more than 1 syllable long, we have a stressed syllable. So which one do you think it is? Completed. Completed. Look. Completed. Completed. It sounds stressed, right? And this is actually indicated by the little mark right next to the P, if you can see it. The little P, the P there, and the little mark next to it. That shows which one is our stressed syllable. So the one after that will be our stressed syllable. So com isn't, pli is not tid. So completed. And we've also got our 2 dots here, which means that the I sound is lengthened to make a E. Completed. Nice one, Michelle. Yes. And good to see you back. I know that I see you here almost every week. So welcome back. And it's really lovely to see some familiar faces, and also lovely to see some new faces. So yeah, welcome back, Michelle. Okay, so yeah, the bridge was completed in 1999. There we go. Next up, we have an unknown agent. So the passive voice is used when the person or thing doing the action is unknown or unimportant. So if you don't know who it was, or it doesn't matter, then you can use that. Really, really, really good. And Rafa, great. It is the second one. Okay. So we would use this if we didn't know or didn't care who it was. So our example here would be, the car was stolen last night. It would be nice to know who stole it, but they don't know. So they will say, instead of a robber stole my car last night, or a bike or a car thief, you'd say my car was stolen instead. 3, general truths and facts. So the passive voice is often used to state general truths or scientific facts. So an example would be, water is boiled at 100 degrees Celsius. So this is just a fact here. So you wouldn't say, you could say water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Jeez. But it actually feels a lot more natural if you were to use it in the passive voice. Water is boiled at 100 degrees Celsius. It feels, yeah, it's just different. I mean, you can use both, but in this sense, it feels a little bit more. It feels a little bit more complex as a way of saying that thing, if you know what I mean. So if you want to sound a little bit more advanced in your English, and you're saying a fact or a general truth, it's a pretty good one to use. It's a good one to practice there. Next up, we have formal writing. As I just said, it is quite a formal, advanced way of using language, so it's a good one to use in formal writing. So the passive voice is frequently used in formal writing, such as scientific reports or legal documents, to create an objective tone. So yes, that is exactly what it is. It just clicked with me. Why it feels more formal, or why it feels more a bit more complex as a sentence, and that's exactly why. It's because it doesn't feel as much of. It doesn't feel like you're giving an opinion on that thing, or water boils at that. That this is what I think. You know, it's actually just more of an objective truth there. Water boils at no. So where is it? Yeah, water is boiled at this degree, at 100 degrees. So it's just a truth. You see? That's the difference there. So here's our example of this one. So the experiment was conducted under strict conditions. The experiment was conducted under strict conditions. This is a truth, and it's also formal. The experiment was conducted under strict conditions. Okay, let's now go through red words on this page. So we have stolen. Can you tell me how many syllables in the word stolen? What do you think? Oh gosh, when I'm speaking so much, I have to keep drinking water, otherwise my throat dries up. What do you think here? Stolen. I'll wait for the first comment because I'm sure that you'll all have it. I think there might be a little bit of a delay as well, so I'm guessing that's why. Oh yeah, perfect. So yes, two exactly. So we have two here. So stolen, stolen. Get our syllable drum back out. Stolen. Which one is our stressed syllable? Can you see from the red word here which one it is? Remember, the one that has the little mark before it is the stressed syllable. So if you can tell me which one it is. So yes, it is the first syllable here. So it's stolen, not stolen, stolen, which um, just isn't a word. But stolen sense if you go up on the first one. You can imagine it a bit like music. If you go stolen, it's a bit of a different way of making that sentence, that word, than if you were to go up and over it. Stolen. And that's a way of practicing the pronunciation there. Okay, so next up we have experiment. Let's get out our syllable drum here and drum out how many syllables we have. So we have experiment, experiment, 4. So experiment is 4. Yes, very good, Anne. It's also a very good way of doing it by kind of visualizing which part of the sentence is. There are many different ways of doing it. Some people, if there are 4 syllables, will draw 4 circles, and then in the syllable that is stressed, they'll fill it out. So you have some hollow circles and one that is filled in, and it's also a good way of practicing as well. So we have experiment. So we have our second part here that is our stress syllable. Experiment, experiment, not experiment or experiment or even experiment. You see, these are the different ways that it would be pronounced if it was stressed in different ways. But we have experiment, spare, pair, experiment. Okay, good job, guys. All right. So differences between the active and passive voice. So active voice, the subject performs the action. So the man drinks the drink, as as opposed to the passive voice, the subject receives the action, which would be the drink is drunk by the man. You can see, or just the drink is drunk, like we said earlier on. Number 2, often more direct and concise with the active voice, whereas the second one can be less direct and sometimes wordier. So yeah, so that is the fact there. So sometimes you might have a bit more directness with the active voice than the passive voice. But if you want to sound a bit more fancier and more formal, you can then use our passive voice here. And depending on what you want to say, if there are certain things that would work best with the passive voice. And number 3, we have an example, which would be the dog chased the cat. So the dog is doing the chase, the chasing. And then if we were in the passive voice, we would have the cat was chased by the dog. So the previous the thing that the action was happening to, which was the cat, is now the thing that we are focusing on and what is happening to it. So the cat was chased by the dog as opposed to the dog chasing the cat. I know in some languages they use cases, and those are ways in which they express who the action is and who the action is happening to, and who is doing the action. Yeah, so cases will express these things, but in English we need to rely on sentence order. So our passive voice can be very important and very helpful in expressing those things. You can see. Okay, and our one red word here is chased. Chased. Very good. Okay, passive voice with modal verbs. So our modal verbs are things like can, should, must, could, would, things like this. And then when we're using a modal verb in the passive voice, the structure changes slightly, but still follows the same basic principles. So can in the active would be they can complete the project. They can complete the project. Whereas if we wanted to say it in the passive, is the project can be completed. The project can be completed. So we're saying that the project, it is able to complete that. You see, we're switching the sentence around again. Okay, should, we have our active one. They should fix the problem. Our passive one would be the problem should be fixed. Right? Must. Our active would be they must finish the report. Our passive would be the report must be finished. Okay, one red word here, report. Report. Great. All right. Thank you very much, Anrafa. I'm glad that you are enjoying the class. I hope that you are enjoying, and I hope that you're I hope that it is one that is able to be followed, and no matter what, it is really, really good that you guys came along and are following this, because that is the first step in any kind of language learning, turning up. So yes, thank you, Anrafa. Next up, we have our passive voice in questions. So we want to ask questions, and sometimes we want to ask questions using the passive voice. So forming questions in the passive voice involves inverting the subject and the form to be. So our regular one would be active. Does he write the reports? Does he write the reports? Or are the reports written by him? You're switching that around. You're switching the subject and the form to be. So are the reports written by him? Okay. And notice how in the active one here we're using does, because we are using we're using active tenses here. So does he write the reports? We're using the present simple here, and we are asking a question. Whereas if we're using the passive, we're using are, because we use the verb to be in the passive. So are the reports written by him? Number two, past simple. So we have, did they build the house? Our question here, did they build the house? Passive would be, was the house built by them? Was the house built by them? Great. Notice once again, did swapped out for the verb to be, because we're using the passive voice. And last but certainly not least, we have our future simple. So we have our active, which would be, will they open the new store? Will they do that in the future? And our passive would be, will the new store be opened by them? I know it's very wordy when we start using the future simple, but yes, this is the correct way of saying this. Thank you, Jean. I'm glad that you enjoyed. I'm glad you enjoyed, and have a great one. I'm going to, before we go, guys, because I think that it would be good for you to practice a little bit. I'm going to give you a sentence. I'm going to put it in the comments here, and I would like you to write for me. I'm going to write one in the active, and I want you to try and write the passive form of this. So let me think of a sentence. So the let me write it down. So the dog drank the water. Okay, so how would you create the passive voice using this sentence? Let's see. I know that you've got it. I know you can do it. The water was drunk by the dog. The water was drunk by the dog. Very good. Yes. Good one, guys. Yep. Amazing. Yes, so you are using it's in the past simple here. So the dog drank the water, sorry. And now you have turned 1 second. The water was drunk by the dog. The water was drunk. There we go. Yes, so you switched my drank because that was in the second form for the third form drunk. So yeah, really good guys. The water was drunk by the dog. Yeah, you're all smashing it. Really, really good job, guys. Let's do one more. So think of one. Um, I let me think. So had um I had cooked. There we go. I had cooked dinner. Really, 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 really good, guys. Really, really good. And we can finish off on I had cooked dinner. So I'll wait on some of the answers here. Really, really proud, guys. Hello, Jocelyn. If you have just joined, please feel free to go back to the start of the live video and you can watch through everything that we've just said here. And you can get everything. Like you can get all of the explanations and things that have gone on in this video from the start. Okay, so the dinner had been cooked by me. Yeah, or just the dinner had been cooked. But yes, either way, it's great. So the dinner had been cooked. Let's see, dinner. Ooh, so Anne, just remember we are using we use the third form of the verb. So we use instead of cooking, which is actually, funnily enough, the present participle of the verb, we'd use the past participle. So the dinner had been cooked by me. But the rest of the sentence is great. Um, we will just add the article, which is the dinner had been cooked by me. But the rest is perfect. So really, really good job there. Sylvia, the dinner had been cooked by me. Perfect. The dinner had been cooked by me. The dinner had been cooked by me. Uh, the dinner had been cooked. Yeah, yeah, works as well. Very good, very good, very good. Sorry, had been. I no, that I. Oh, you got it. Okay, you changed it already. That's great. Perfect, Dan. The dinner had been cooked by me. The dinner had been cooking. So yeah, once again, Rosa, just remember, we use the third form, which is our past participle, um, and we would say the dinner had been cooked. But the rest of your sentence is perfect there. Dinner had been cooked. Dinner had been cooked. Had been. The dinner had been cooked by me. It was very fun reading through this. The dinner had been cooked. Yeah, perfect. All right, guys. Well, you should give yourself a pat on the back, and I'm very impressed and very proud of you guys. It's been a lot of fun and really, really nice having a lot of people here. You know, it's nice to be able to communicate with you guys during the lessons, and yeah, just kind of just learn and just to be able to communicate. It's very nice to have that back and forth, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you did too. If you would like to download any of the resources that you see here, you can go down into the description below, and down there you can click the link, and through the link you can download and get all of the things here. So and those will help you because in your daily life you can anytime go on your phone, have a look at them, and go through these slides. And in doing that, you can just become better and better at recognizing the passive voice, at using the passive voice, and even at practicing the pronunciations with the red words. So yeah, really, really, really good job, guys. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And even if I don't get back to you right now, I will let you know. Well, my mind went blank for a second there. Even if I don't let you know the answer right now, we will answer your comments to the best of our abilities for in the future at any point. So really, really, really good, guys. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. It was really, really fun chatting to all of you and teaching. So have a great one, guys. I've been James. We've been I Speak Spoke Spoken, and joyfully